extension on the back of the house and they didn't get permits because it wasn't a big deal back then, banks a lot of times won't lend on those either because they don't have the permits.
This is very interesting, and we want to find out some more. But at this point in the show, we're going to take a brief break from my hometown on 90.3 WHPC. Our guest today is Charles Weinraub, founder and director of acquisition of the Handsome Homebuyer. We'll be right back after this brief intermission.
Peekaboo, peekaboo, smile.
Smile, buddy.
Come on, smile. Oh, honey, he's still not smiling.
Maybe he's not a smiler.
Yeah, maybe he's just not a happy baby.
Maybe he's just being a boy. You know how boys are.
Or maybe he's teething. Oh, poor baby. I think his gums hurt.
Maybe he's just tired.
Or maybe his tummy hurts. He didn't eat that much.
Maybe he's not ticklish.
You think maybe he's scared of the dog?
Maybe he'll outgrow it. Maybe it's a phase. Maybe he just doesn't like smiling.
Maybe he has autism, and we can definitely do something to help.
Maybe is all you need to find out more about autism. No big, joyful smiles by 6 months is one early sign. Learn the others at autismspeaks.org/signs or see a doctor today for an autism screening. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better. And it can make a lifetime of difference. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
My hometown is made possible by Herald Community Newspapers. For more local news, visit liherald.com. Got a story to tell? Call 516-569-4000.
WHPC. And now we return to My Hometown.
Welcome back. You're listening to My Hometown. I'm your host, Bill Horan, along with Nassau Community College student Joe Ritter. Our special guest today is Charles Weinraub, founder and director of acquisitions at the Handsome Homebuyer. Let's hear some more. And Joe, let's get a few more questions to Charles to find out how this business works.
Yeah, we definitely got to, because it's a big...
It's interesting.
It's a lot to take in. So it's a lot to learn. So is there specific areas in Long Island that you look, or does it just come in like you just check like a feed somewhere, or how do you find where you're looking for?
So I guess it's kind of like two parts to that question. As far as where I buy anywhere. You know, there's no town. With the volume that I want to do, again, my goal is to buy 100 houses this year. I want to scale that to 200 to 300 houses a year over the next 3 to 5 years. That's my goal. So if you want to do that, you can't be like, I only want to buy houses in Levittown or Want or Merrick. You have to be willing to basically go everywhere. So I buy houses all over Long Island and sometimes in the boroughs. Regardless of the area, I always tell people, I'm like, I could sell a house in 2 days on the Sunrise Highway divider. It's all about the number. All right.
Now, Charles, do you walk down the street and you see that house with the overgrown grass and the broken window and the garage door that's kind of hanging off, and you knock on it quickly and say, hello,
I do.
I'm handsome.
Yes, I do. I mean, I always tell people, they're always like, well, how do you get the houses? And I'm like, there's no difference between how I buy houses and any other company sells their product. You have to do 20 or 30 things consistently well all the time. So I have, ads on the radio. I have, relationships with hundreds of realtors, attorneys. I mean, you name it. I'll knock on the door and say, hey, whatever it takes, talk to neighbors. Whatever it really takes in order to do that kind of volume.
I'm just thinking how he gets referrals from people who go, this house is a mess, call Charles.
Yes.
This house smells, call Charles.
Yes.
Nobody wants this house, call Charles.
If the hair on the back of your neck stands up when you walk in, it's probably something for me.
Nobody's going to eat this food, call Charles. He'll come over and have it. So that's a very good deal. That might be the name for another sub-company that you work at.
There's a great handsome guy we can refer you to.
There you go.
He'll help you out. So how do you determine which properties to sell and which ones that maybe you want to rent out? I don't know if you do renting, but
I do rentals. I do a lot of rentals. Actually, ironically, I flip houses to buy rentals because flipping houses is a job. If you want to develop long-term generational wealth, rentals are how you do it. So it's really based on price point because everything on Long Island is so expensive, as we know. But the rents, let's say, in an area like, like Belmore, and the rents in, let's say, an area like, Mastic or Shirley are very, very close, but the price difference in what you can buy and what the taxes are is very, very different. So I typically do rentals in areas where I can purchase the houses for under $100,000. Anything else doesn't make financial sense. I won't get the return that I'm looking for.
That house has to be a mess on Long Island if it's $100,000. Well, I know you said that's what you look for, but to get a $100,000 house, wow.
Everything I buy, regardless of price point, is always a mess because otherwise, if it's not, a person can get a mortgage and they can buy it, and the seller can get more money.
Now, Every business sounds good. And I love that show, The Millionaire Broker or Millionaire Listing. New York City.
Yeah.
And we see them in every week, Joe. I don't know if you watch this, but a couple of these brokers in New York, they make these deals, and there's a cash register that clicks, and they go, his commission $280,000, his commission $450,000. So it's easy. In an hour, they all make $500,000.
Do they make that much money?
But one of them, I think, does at least. But let me ask you. Every job has some problems with it, and while these guys only have lunch and they smile and sit with the beautiful people, what are some of the tough things? Like if you combine a month of tough things in obviously this conversation, the things that disrupt your day, that are difficult, the lumps in the soup.
Oh God, it's funny that you say that because like now the business I'm in flipping is it's sexy. Everybody wants to do it. There's tons of shows out there. With people, and everything goes horribly wrong, like you said, but in a half an hour, the house goes from terrible to amazing. They overpaid, and they still made $1 million. It's nowhere near that. It's a grind like anything else. I mean, we have any number of problems. You open up walls, there's termite damage, there's the renovation's going to cost 10, 20, 15% more than you thought it was. There's issues with the townships where you took out permits, it wasn't the right permit that they wanted. They shut you down. You're not doing anything for a month or 2 months. There's angry neighbors. There's material costs that go up. There's contractors not showing up. I mean, pick your poison.
So your day is not just walking around the street saying, I want to buy that house and I want to buy that house. You have to get, to be visual, your hands dirty. You have to get in there. It's all drama. I mean, myself personally, I can't hammer a nail, but it's all drama all the time, but I love every second of it. Now, the other part of the bad news, or for some people, and let's see how we classify this, you have to deal with those unearthly creatures that live below the ground called lawyers. And a lot of people don't like lawyers.
I don't really have problems with the lawyers, believe it or not.
Wait a minute, did you, Joe, get that? He didn't. He said,
I'm
do we have that on tape?
We need that on
he
record.
Likes lawyers?
No, they don't really give me a lot of problems. They really don't.
Really?
No, I mean, you know what? There's problems in every business. I guess it's just a matter of your attitude. Like, being successful is all about a mentality, and I just think it's how you deal with these things. Like, running a business is essentially putting out fires all day long. If you understand that that's what your job is, you don't take this stuff personally. I mean, there are days where I go home. I mean, I don't have any hair anymore. That could possibly be because of some of the, stress and aggravation. But, it's just, if you like what you do, it's not really bad.
You could also think of it as like you don't have any hair, so you can rock out nice hats like you are right now.
Exactly.
So there you go.
I wish you had some video.
I think also a lot of real estate attorneys, at least today, in the old days it was a little different, but at least today they're more into the business world. They understand the concepts. They're not. I was kidding, of course, as a former attorney, to say to you that they're nasty or subterranean creatures or whatever. But a lot of people knock them. But they make your deals go, and without them, you wouldn't do it correctly. And the buyer makes the correct purchase, the seller makes the correct sale, and you do it by the book so that you can resell the house and the new owner owns it properly.
We all need each other. We're all connected to each other, regardless. That's why I feel like you should always help people out. You should always try to work through things like a gentleman, because the industry is small and Long Island is small. Everyone's separated by like one person.
People know about you. When you hurt somebody, they get you back.
Without a doubt. And I think, Carl had always told me, he's like, your reputation is everything. My best friend has this saying, which I love, which is, it takes a lifetime to establish a reputation and a moment to lose it.
Exactly.
And that's the difference between building a successful business and not.
Very true.
Perfect. A nice save before, Bill. That was a nice save. Turn that around quick. So, speaking of turning around, how many homes would you say you've turned around so far? I don't know if we threw a number out there, but
I think it was about 80. So the goal, I haven't tallied everything this year so far. I do it by quarters. So this is my 4th year in the business. So the first year I did 10, second year I did 11, last year I did 40, and the first quarter of this year I bought 19. So I haven't tallied second quarter yet, but the goal is to 100. Realistically, this year we're going to do somewhere in the neighborhood of 75 to 100 houses.
Now, Charles, do you have a relationship with different lenders? We know on Long Island there are many banks, credit unions, funding companies, private lenders. Do you have relationships with them that you can come out and buy that house for, even to use the number you did, 100,000, maybe 400,000?
Absolutely.
Without waiting a long time?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I do is I've developed a network that I'm constantly growing. and always looking for new investors of private people, just people that either they're, any amount of money. The very cool thing about this is a lot of my deals are funded by people that I grew up with or from the town that really support me. A lot of people use their retirement money via self-directed IRA, which I educate them on, and they're investing their retirement money. Or there are some people that have a block of money, and this one gentleman I grew up with, he wanted his wife to stay home. They just had a baby. And because he invested in the project, she was able to stay home for the first 3 years and raise her child. So it's very cool to be able to help those people and for them to help me realize my dream. It's awesome.
And just to let our audience know, where does the home, if someone wanted to get in touch with you, they have this oddball house that they want to sell, and only you would buy it? Or there's 37 cats in the bedroom?
Yes.
Where would they get in touch with you? Where do you work out of?
We work out of Farmingdale. The best number to reach here is 516-777-SOLD, or on our website at handsomehombuyer.com. My personal email is charles@handsomehombuyer.com. That's handsome as in good looking, yes. Homebuyer, singular, no S's.com.
So they can find you. Just remember the Handsome Homebuyer, and you'll be there.
If you guys are interested in seeing the renovations and seeing how they progress, we're on social media at handsome_homebuyer and on Facebook at Handsome Homebuyer. You can actually physically watch the houses go from zero to hero.
Oh, that might be nice. That might be a fun
entire
experiment
process.
if someone's interested.
Yeah, it's like HGTV live on social media. It's very cool.
Sure.
That's very cool. And awesome. I love the little reference you threw in there. Disney never hurt anybody. So where do you see yourself in 10 or so years? Like, where do you see this going? Do you see this only going up, or maybe progress into a different field from there? Or what are your plans, do you think?
I see it all. I feel like to be successful, you have to have this kind of like delusional vision of what's going to happen in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. So in 10 years, I see myself, I'm 37 today, I see being on this run with single-family homes the way I'm doing it now for the next 3 to 5 years. I'm planning on going back to school to NYU, actually, to get my master's in real estate development by 45.
Now, this is a smart man. Okay.
By 45, I will have a fully functioning REIT.
And for our audience, what is a REIT?
A real estate investment trust, which is essentially similar to a hedge fund, but for real estate. So you have a large pool of money from, pension funds, very high net worth individuals, things like that. And then you go out and fund or joint venture with real estate projects across even the world.
I thought you were going to answer that question and say, I'm 37 now. In 10 years, I see myself as being 47. And I was waiting for you to come out with that. But that's someone really practical, though, I think, to get the education, to go back and make sure you know more and more about what you're doing and can expand it to larger areas. So right now, it's basically single-family homes that you work with. Single
and multifamily. I'm trained in every aspect of real estate. I mean, Carl made sure of that. So when I originally got into this, I wanted to do big multifamily. The thing with right now is that there's so much money out there that's going towards multifamily that the returns aren't there. They've pressed what's known as the cap rate, which is capitalization rate, which is basically the return that you're going to get for the viewers out there, listeners out there, down so low that the return's not there. So I'm having a lot better luck with the single and 1 to 4 families homes.
And Charles, we want to thank you for being with us today on My Hometown on 90.3 WHBC. We'd like to remind our audience, our guest has been Charles Weinraub. He's the founder of the Handsome Homebuyer. And real quick, that website?
HandsomeHomebuyer.com, 516-777-SOLD.
Easy enough to remember. It looks like a good business. He certainly loves what he does. So maybe you'll meet up with him one day and see a man who's passionate about what he does. Thanks for being with us on My Hometown.
We'd like to get your feedback on My Hometown. Send your comments to whpc@ncc.edu. My Hometown is produced by Jim Green, executive producer. Nassau Community College, where success starts and continues. Till next time, this is Bill St. James. And remember, there's no town like your hometown.